Imagine a young man caught between two worlds, the world of success and fame and the world of crime. Ryan Phillips was training to become the most famous hockey player in Canadian history, but due to low income and bad influences, he fell into the world of crime and drug smuggling. He founded a team specializing in smuggling drugs from Canada to the US, but not in an ordinary way. They used trucks, boats, and planes, making a fortune from this illicit business. What will be the end of this endeavor? The ending will be unpredictable, so expect plenty of twists. Stay tuned and enjoy the video. Hello, you're on the Story Mix channel, your go-to spot for stories. Our story's hero is Ryan John Phillips, born in 1975 in Vancouver, Canada. From the moment Ryan entered the world, he had one dream in life: to become a famous hockey player. Ice hockey, for those who aren't familiar, is a game played by two teams on an ice rink. Each team has six players who use hockey sticks to try and score goals. This sport was popular in most European countries and North America. Ryan received constant support from his parents, especially his dad, who always encouraged him and was sure his son would one day become the most famous hockey player in Canadian history. In 1992, when he was 17, his passion for the sport grew. His dad would always take him to the rink and train him until he joined a junior team in Canada. And so, he began to see improvement, but at that time, he was away from his family because he was traveling with the team. This situation made him feel isolated from his family, plus his teammates, who were older, took advantage of his weakness, treating him like a literal punching bag. During this period, his teammates mocked him, made him drink alcohol, and when he lost consciousness, they would write silly phrases on his body and hurt him. He didn't confront any of them because he was somewhat timid. But fortunately, in 1993, the team settled in Vancouver, so he returned to live with his family and was relieved from his teammates' issues. However, he began to suffer from loneliness and depression as he had no friends or even a girlfriend. Ryan decided to frequent nightclubs to relieve stress, and that's where the surprise happened. He met his old friend Ken, who he really liked back in school. Ken was nice and friendly to him, and when he saw him, he welcomed him and introduced him to his new friends. Ryan noticed that Ken had a lot of money and was spending lavishly wherever he went. They sat together, and Ryan asked his friend Ken how he made all this money. Ken said, "I don't do anything else except train at the club." Ken replied, "Don't worry, I'll set you up with a job where you can make a lot of money." The next day, Ken came to Ryan's place and took him to an apartment. Ryan didn't know where he was going or what kind of job awaited him, and he was nervous the whole time. When he entered the apartment, he was shocked to see people doing drugs and a huge amount of marijuana on the table. While marijuana use was common in Canada, the quantity he saw was enormous. Ken approached him and said, "Don't worry, my friend. All you have to do is smuggle a small amount across the Canadian border into the US. I'll give you a profit for every job you do. It's really easy." At that time, marijuana was illegal in the US and in high demand, making smuggling it from Canada to the US a very profitable business. Despite his anxiety, Ryan didn't object and actually liked the idea. He grabbed his hockey bag, filled it with 10 kilograms of marijuana, and drove to the border. The trip took about an hour and 15 minutes, but suddenly he saw a police car behind him. The emergency lights flashed, but he breathed a sigh of relief when the car turned off in a different direction. He arrived at the border, and a border guard asked him for his passport and destination. Ryan told him he was a professional hockey player heading to a game. The guard didn't suspect anything, gave him back his passport, and let him pass. Ryan felt a great sense of relief and, after delivering the drugs to the intended location, returned to Canada the same day. When Ken saw his success with the mission, he gave him $1,000 and said, "This is your profit from this simple job, and the more trips you make, the more you'll earn." Ryan was thrilled with the money. $1,000 in the 90s was worth much more than it is now. He thought to himself, "Why should I keep playing hockey? With this job, I can make what would be my salary for many days in a short time. So, Ryan told his friend Ken, I'm ready for the next job. Indeed, Ryan started taking a quantity of drugs every day, putting them in his hockey bag, and driving to America to deliver the goods before heading back to Canada to collect his profits. He began earning huge amounts of money, reaching tens of thousands of dollars. At this point, his parents noticed a change in his life. He was constantly buying things and living a life of luxury, but no one asked him about the source of this money. One day, Ryan received an important call from someone offering him a professional contract to play hockey in America, which reignited his enthusiasm and love for the sport. The contract was a dream come true, with a very tempting salary. Ryan was thrilled and shared the news with his family, who were very happy because their son's dream of becoming a professional hockey player was finally coming true. A few weeks later, he moved to America and began training regularly, completely abandoning the smuggling business. He played his first professional game in front of more than 15,000 spectators and delivered a performance that amazed the crowd. During the game, he noticed a girl in the audience who was watching him and smiling the whole time. He decided to get to know her and spoke to the team coach to help him reach her. The girl's name was Nicole, and they got to know each other and quickly fell in love. After a few months, they became a couple and enjoyed a happy life together. But one day, Ryan received a call from his old friend Ken, who used to work with him in smuggling. Ken asked if Ryan wanted to return to smuggling, as the business was thriving and the profits were increasing. Ryan declined the offer, stating that he was now a professional hockey player and didn't want to return to smuggling. Shortly after this conversation, Nicole came home and told Ryan she was pregnant. It was happy news but brought a lot of responsibilities, as Ryan was only 20 years old and wasn't sure if he was ready to be a father. Additionally, his income from hockey wasn't enough to cover their expenses as a family, but he decided to let things develop over time. Ryan continued playing hockey but made a grave mistake by drinking alcohol before an important game. The next day, he was in bad shape and unable to play. The coach noticed his condition and asked him about it, and Ryan admitted he had been drinking, which led to his dismissal from the team. His hopes for a sports career shattered at the same time he and Nicole welcomed a baby girl named Sadie. With increasing responsibilities and no job, Ryan and his wife decided to return to Canada and live with his family. After a few days, Ryan met up again with his friend Ken in a bar, and Ken offered him a chance to return to smuggling. This time, after some thought, Ryan decided to go back into smuggling, as he had no other options. When he returned to Nicole and told her what had happened, she was angry and confused because she didn't know about his past in smuggling. But in the end, she didn't interfere, and Ryan decided to start working with Ken again. He quickly recruited one of his old hockey buddies, convincing him to join the operation, as he had a pass to enter America without inspection. Ryan seized this big opportunity and continued smuggling large amounts of marijuana. After a period of success, Ken started noticing that Ryan was smuggling larger quantities than usual without his knowledge, so he became suspicious and began to monitor him. He discovered that Ryan was using his friend to smuggle the goods. Ken was furious and confronted Ryan, but Ryan calmed him down, convincing him that his friend was just a middleman and not a partner in the business. However, Ken wasn't satisfied and decided to cut ties with Ryan. At this point, Ryan decided to work alone, knowing all the secrets of the business. He started bringing in and smuggling large quantities by himself, achieving enormous profits amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars. But one day in 1996, while Ryan was packing the goods at home, Nicole walked in and saw him hiding the marijuana in bags. Nicole was shocked and told him that this path would either lead him to death or prison, and that she couldn't live with a drug dealer and would leave with their daughter to America. He said, "So, who are you?" The other party responded, "It doesn't matter who I am. You stole 70 kilograms of contraband from us, and we need you to return it as soon as possible." Ryan was shocked and asked, "Who did you say I stole from? Who are you guys? I didn't steal 70 kilograms or anything. Besides, I'm smuggling large amounts. What would I do with 70 kilograms?" It didn't make any sense to him. Despite that, Ryan didn't take the call seriously and didn't pay much attention to it. He had no idea that a crime boss was out to get him because he had advanced significantly in smuggling. The boss had staged the theft of the 70 kilograms and told his gang that Ryan was the thief. The whole point of this setup was to get rid of him. The next day, Ryan went to a restaurant for lunch, but suddenly, gang members surrounded him and the big boss sat down in front of him. He said, "Listen, either you return the 70 kilograms of cocaine you stole or pay us $2 million." Ryan was confused and said, "I don't even deal with cocaine. I'm all about marijuana. What would I do with 70 kilograms of your cocaine?" The gang was suspicious of his story, so they decided to take him to their warehouse for a lie detector test, which was a bit ridiculous since drug dealers were using methods of investigators and cops. Ryan took the test, scared and anxious. They asked him 5 questions, and after he answered yes or no, they confirmed he had nothing to do with the theft and let him go. He went home feeling down. He felt his life had lost all meaning. He had become a drug addict, and his family had completely abandoned him. His wife, his daughter, his father, and his mother. Moreover, his life was increasingly in danger, so he decided to commit suicide to escape this life. But suddenly, after reflecting, he told himself, "The solution is simple. I'm the one who got myself into this mess, and I'm the only one who can get myself out." Indeed, Ryan decided to distance himself from the drug smuggling and drug use, cutting ties with everything related to that world. After years of this drastic change, he wrote a book about his life story and named it Return to Happiness. He also became an activist for human rights and volunteered for charities to raise awareness about the dangers of addiction and illegal drugs. He even traveled to Cambodia to help combat human trafficking and child sexual exploitation. At that time, and still today, Cambodia and Southeast Asia in general were suffering from widespread issues of this kind. When he learned about it, he decided to contribute to this charitable work. Due to his remarkable efforts in 2012, the U.S. lifted the travel ban against him in recognition of his contributions. Ryan traveled to America and reunited with his daughter for the first time after being apart for over 15 years. He felt an indescribable joy and felt like life was finally smiling at him. He lived the life he had always wished for. As for his ex-wife, she had settled into her life and didn't return to him. His relationship with his parents improved and became better than before. In conclusion, the story is full of lessons. Every mistake Ryan made led to severe consequences: drinking alcohol, drug use, and bad company. If he hadn't been determined to get out of the situation he was stuck in, he would now be either in prison or dead. And that's the end of our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to support Story Mix. If you want to watch another story, you can find more on the channel. See you in the next video. Goodbye.